All right, I think we can get started. Welcome, everyone. In order to avoid feedback, we've muted everyone. So if you plan to speak, make sure you click on that microphone and unmute yourself. I welcome you. I'm Elisa Velardo, Deputy Commissioner for DDS, and it's great to see everyone here today. This is our fifth Fourth Tuesday Forum, and this month's topic is on innovative employment options and customized employment. We've got a great group of presenters here today, and I believe that this will be the first of this will not be the last of our forums on employment. There's a lot to cover with employment, and so we'll get started today, but as we get into the agenda for 2023, I anticipate we will be sharing more innovative employment options. Today's forum is recorded. And so for those that are not able to attend this afternoon, we will have the recording on our website on the cover page under Fourth Tuesday Forums, and people will be able to view the forum after the fact. We do have a number of presenters today, so we will hold questions until the end after presentations are completed, but so that you don't forget your questions, if you want to note your questions in the chat as you think of them, as different presenters are sharing information, please feel free to do so. And then we'll make sure that we get to all of the questions at the end of the forum. When we get to question and answer time, you can also raise your hand at that point, but we'll make sure that we preserve time to get to any questions. And so without further ado, I will turn it over to our Employment and Day Services team. Trevor Rogers, Brian Gresco, and Daryl Spears are going to provide an overview of employment options and customized employment. Welcome.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. My name is Brian Gresco, as the Deputy Commissioner mentioned, and I'm a transition advisor for the Department of Developmental Services, Employment and Day Services Division. My colleagues Daryl Spears, Trevor Rogers are also employment and day transition advisors who will be assisting me with this presentation. We're going to give a quick an overview of the employment day services that are offered by DDS and then get into specific topics of discussion. So in this first slide, here's an overview of the different employment day and day services organized into day, pre-employment, and employment options that will be reviewed in this PowerPoint. All these services are housed within the DDS Employment Day Services Division. On this screen are the different day services offered by the department. The first are group models, whereas the bottom two are individualized service models. Group day services are provided in a facility-based program or an appropriate community location and are meant to lead to the acquisition, improvement, and/or retention of skills and abilities that prepare an individual for work and/or community participation, or support meaningful socialization, leisure, and retirement activities. Senior Supports is a pre-retirement service designed to prevent isolation, assist in maintaining skills, and stimulate social interaction with others. Individualized day supports, IDS, are community-based, not in home or facility, and offered in two forms, vocational and non-vocational. Individualized day vocational, IDV, has a vocational focus and is meant to assist individuals in maintaining skills and overcoming barriers to employment. Individualized day non-vocational, IDN, as it's called, does not have a vocational focus and is meant to provide community participation in meaningful socialization and leisure activities. At this point, I know that we're going to get into specific topics of discussion. One area that we were asked to cover is Project Search, which is actually near and dear to my heart because I serve as the statewide coordinator for Project Search. As a little background, Project Search is an international program that boasts over 700 programs worldwide. As of this morning, I think it was 718 programs to be exact, including programs in nearly every state. Project Search is a 9-month transition program for students and young adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities that completely takes place within a community business. Interns attend an hour of class time each day and then participate in 3 different 10-week internship rotations, which last for at least 4 hours per day, learning a variety of transferable employment skills. Interns are also assisted with finding a job in the community or at the business host site upon completion of the program. One of the things that is really appealing about Project Search is that over 75% of graduate interns become competitively employed. DDS is a primary funding agency for Project Search in Connecticut, which has 10 programs up and running. We do have one program on hiatus, but is hoping to return next year, and we have another program on the way. To further underscore DDS's commitment to Project Search, the department has authorized a grant for 3 additional programs expected to be in effect for the 2023-2024 year. Okay, and then on this screen, just for general knowledge, is a list of the various Project Search programs in Connecticut. We're well represented in Hartford and Fairfield counties. We're really focused on increasing our presence in areas such as Lower New Haven County, eastern part of the state, Waterbury area. So those are areas that we're looking to expand into. At this point, I'm going to hand things over to Daryl Spears, my colleague. He's going to take the reins and talk a little bit about employment transition services.
Thank you so much, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to speak to you about employment transition services. As Brian has stated, my name is Daryl Spears, and I am a colleague of his and Trevor's, a DDS transition advisor. Employment transition services is one of our newer services that launched in 2017. The service is time limited at 3 years, 6 months to 3 years, and is meant to help individuals become equipped and ready for competitive integrated employment through different activities such as career discovery and exploration, skill development, and self-advocacy. ETS is fully community-based and uses a variety of formats such as internships, volunteer opportunities, and participation in community events. Some examples of where individuals in this service may spend their time are employment exploration sites, adult ED sites, post-secondary schools, job centers, we have the American Job Centers, workforce centers, and community locations such as libraries, health clubs, and banks. In this slide, I'm going to speak a little bit more about some of our other employment supports. Here are the different employment supports offered by this division. The first, individual supported employment, also known as ISC, is a service designed to help an individual achieve employment through developing skills and interests, job procurement, and ongoing maintenance support in keeping individuals employed. We also have group supported employment, also known as GSE. It is a group employment model where individuals work in a competitive employment environment under the supervision of a job coach. We also have small business enterprises, which allows individuals to start their own small business enterprise or become competitively employed at a small business enterprise. Pamela Don Aroma will be talking about micro businesses later in this forum. And then finally, we have customized employment services, which is an alternative method of finding competitive integrated employment that is highly structured and focuses on finding a job that meets both the likes, strengths, skills, and abilities of the individual and the unmet needs of employers as well. At this point in the presentation, I'm going to hand this over to my colleague, Trevor Rogers, who's going to dive some more into customized employment services.
Thanks, Daryl. So like Daryl said, my name is Trevor Rogers, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about customized employment, or CE. And in Connecticut, customized employment is an interagency process between the Departments of Aging and Disability Services, Bureau of Rehabilitation Services, ADS-BRS, and the Department of Developmental Services, DDS, as well as the State Department of Education, SDE. And one of my colleagues on the interagency CE project team, Tori Morse, is here to present on CE with me. And I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce herself and to give a brief explanation of our interagency partnership before I dive more into this service.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tori Morris, and I'm with the Department of Aging and Disability Services. I have been with the Bureau of Rehab Services for 24 years. And we are working closely with DDS in the implementation of customized employment. Important to note that our sister agency, Board of Education Services of the Blind, BESB, and BRS make up Connecticut's implementation of the Federal Vocational Rehabilitation Program. And so as we get started here, you can see the timeline of our endeavors between these two departments over the last several years. Implemented over 30 years ago, customized employment has been marginally present in Connecticut for quite some time. However, statewide implementation was not feasible as it has not been funded by the adult service agencies until now. Implementation of customized employment services statewide in Connecticut is the result of the interagency collaboration of the State Department of Education, the Department of Developmental Services, and the Department of Aging and Disability Services. Implementation of CE, customized employment, is a requirement for the Federal Vocational Rehabilitation Program under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act. In October of 2021, the Connecticut Customized Employment Certification course was implemented with the collaboration of the Regional Education Service Center Alliance, also known as the RESC Alliance. This online course was developed in consultation with all three state agencies with a dual focus: to expand community provider capacity to implement customized employment services, and to expose secondary education transition staff within the state to essential components of the discovery phase of customized employment, which aligns with transition services. A special thanks also to the Connecticut Council on Developmental Disabilities and Linda Ramler from the UConn Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, Education, Research, and Service for contributing some of the initial material and foundational knowledge in the development of the curriculum. A significant amount of time, energy, and collaboration went into the creation of this training curriculum, which is offered virtually and on the Canvas platform. The training is provided by certified teachers coordinated through the RESC Alliance. Community providers whose staff certify in customized employment services via the Connecticut CE course, or who have staff who are certified via another program, are asked to have their staff register with the Connecticut CE registry maintained by the Department of Aging and Disability Services. Community provider agencies then contract with both ADS and DDS to take referrals for customized employment services.
Thanks, Tori, for giving us a little bit of that background information on customized employment in Connecticut. And now I'm going to dive a tiny bit deeper into what customized employment is. So, customized employment is an alternative method of finding competitive integrated employment that focuses on the strengths, skills, and abilities of individuals with disabilities and the unmet needs of employers. It's highly structured, person-centered, and carried out over time in 3 separate phases. It serves as a separate service model with more intensive, creative, and specifically modified supports to help the individual achieve their self-directed employment option. And the service is job seeker driven. An individual completes CE services when they've been successfully placed in a competitive integrated employment position for a minimum of 90 days. and the individual then transitions to natural supports or an individual supported employment service. ADS job seekers who need extended services will be transitioned into an extended services funder if the job seeker is not mutually served by both agencies. So who is customized employment for? Customized employment is a good strategy for those who need more intensive supports than typical individualized or group models and who may need to utilize more intensive discovery strategies for career and job direction. CE is effective for individuals with complexities that make it difficult to utilize traditional job search strategies. If an individual meets some of those requirements, then case managers should consider whether the job seeker fits any of the employment model's criteria to.
Oh, Trevor, you're muted.
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry about that. Um, so, um, if an individual meets some of those requirements, then the case managers can consider whether they fit into some of, whether the job seeker fits into any of the different employment models that are criteria on the screen before they initiate the referral process. And as you can see, there's a variety of paths that an individual job seeker can take to gain employment, such as employment transition services, group supported employment, or an individualized employment support. Or if individuals have tried one or more of these supported employment models without success, and they may need more intensive supports to achieve employment, the individual may be a good candidate for customized employment services. And it's especially important to note that there's no specific path to customized employment services, and rather the service is an option that should be explored after the individual has tried other employment services and it's been determined that more individualized support is needed to achieve a competitive integrated employment position.
So how is CE different from other services? Customized employment is a new employment service model for both ADS and DDS, as well as most community provider agencies. Unlike other services, direct support staff must have an active customized employment certification in order to offer the service. This is because the service is highly structured, in-depth, and intensive. The service is designed to ensure the process is job seeker driven by focusing on what the job seeker wants and presumes that all individuals can work. Unlike other services, customized employment requires a large amount of participation of family, personal networks, friends, community members, and extended support groups. As I'll review in the next slide, the job discovery phase allows the time for direct service staff to get to know the job seeker, their likes, their dislikes, their skills, and abilities. The first phase is focused solely on this piece, getting to know the job seeker and their goals for their future. Trevor has shared that customized employment services is delivered in 3 phases, each with a separate focus and with a separate set of deliverables. It is essential that this is understood by the job seeker, their families, and the CE provider. This employment service approach is comprehensive, takes place over time, and designed to ensure that the job seeker, the individual, is the primary driver of the outcome obtained. The discovery phase is time spent with the job seeker, his or her family, friends, and extended family, and in the community to get to know the individual and gain a more in-depth understanding of the job seeker's interests, likes, dislikes, knowledge, strengths, skills, and abilities. The focus of discovery is not to find a job, but to engage with the job seeker and his or her extended support system to identify up to 3 areas of interest in which employment might be explored in the community the job seeker is able to access. Discovery activities may include, but are not limited to observation of the job seeker at home, interviewing family members, friends, and other significant individuals in the job seeker's life, engaging with the job seeker in community-based or family activities, as well as coordinated informal job shadows or work trials based upon the job seeker's previous exposure to the world of work. 3 essential topics are explored during this process. Will be the job seeker's benefit status, ability to access transportation, and known as well as potential worksite supports needed. The information gathered and learned is compiled into the discovery report, used to create a visual resume and a customized employment plan. Again, just a reminder, discovery is not finding a job, it's getting to know the individual, getting to know the job seeker. It's essential that job seekers and families understand that sufficient time and interaction is a necessary component of discovery. Evidence-based practice indicates that the average time for discovery is 35 hours over a 5 to 7 week period. The second phase, job development, negotiation, and placement, refers to the implementation of the customized employment plan, or CE plan, as you see in the diagram. Job development is pursued based upon the approach and essential features of employment agreed to by the individual, the job seeker, and supported by the job seeker's delivery team in the CE plan. Job development occurs when possible in tandem with the job seeker approaching employers and prospective businesses identified in the CE plan together. A list of job tasks that fit the job seeker have been developed to offer potential employers when the unmet needs of a business identified in job development match the job seeker's strengths and interests. Occasionally, the job seeker may take the lead in representing themselves to the employer. Potential support needs have been identified in advance and are revised for each specific workplace to account for unique characteristics when negotiating a customized position that meets both the needs of the employer and fits the job seeker. When the job seeker is placed in a customized position, the CE provider submits a job specification report which identifies the specifics of the job and any supports negotiated and the employer's details. The CE provider will also submit a log of business contacts that have been made during the job development process. The last phase, as you see on the diagram, is post-employment supports, which refers to any on-the-job support services that may be necessary to support the job seeker during the initial training and stabilization of the individual's job placement, and extended supports for job seekers who will require job coaching to maintain skills learned and job retention over time. When customized employment updates, when the customized employment course launched in October of 2021, there was less than 5 provider staff in the state of Connecticut with active customized employment certifications. This means that less than 5 people in Connecticut were officially qualified to provide customized employment services. In addition, neither ADS nor DDS had previously funded CE. Today, customized employment is funded by both adult service agencies, ADS and DDS, and there are 59 certified CE direct service staff registered in the state of Connecticut. We will continue to offer the course in an effort to build capacity for customized employment service provision across the state of Connecticut. The ADS-DDS team audited the first and second courses, and we will continue to do this to gather provider feedback and improve the course. The team is also working with the Association of Community Rehabilitation Educators, known as ACRE, to receive course certification based upon the national standards for customized employment implementation. Our team's intent is to expand capacity to ensure job seekers across the state can access CE services. As we continue to offer certification courses for provider staff, we will continue to prioritize by regional coverage needs, as well as trainee fluency in Spanish and the American Sign Language. Currently, there are approximately 38 job seekers actively receiving customized employment services in Connecticut, and there are 15 who are waiting to be served.
Thanks, Tori. So for those interested in customized employment services, the first step is to talk to your DDS case manager. As we've said previously, customized employment is an interagency process with ADS and DDS. So if you don't have a DDS case manager, contact your vocational rehabilitation counselor. Don't forget to reach out to your case manager if you have any questions about customized employment, and the Employment and Day team is always here to assist your case manager if they have any questions about this innovative service option. Programmatic questions will be answered by our joint ADS-DDS team for consistency. And I'm now going to hand it back to my colleague Daryl Spears from the Employment and Day Services Division, who's going to be facilitating a conversation with Emma, a customized employment job seeker.
Trevor, thank you so much. We are definitely in for a treat. I'm going to ask Emma to come off mute. Emma, are you here?
Yeah,
Hello, how are you?
good.
Good.
How are
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So the first step we're going to do is to pin me so that I am visible, okay? Do you remember?
yeah, doing it right now.
Awesome.
Okay, you are pinned.
Awesome. Nice job. So, Emma, we're going to talk a little bit about your CE experience today. So the first thing I want to discuss is Emma has created a list of the differences between some of the past services that she's participated in comparison. So the first thing that I would like to do is I would like to have Emma go through that list of comparisons. So if you don't mind to start, Emma.
Yeah, it's split down the middle. It's like a, well, sure if it is visible. Well,
Yep.
You see how it is. The one on the left is trial work experience. The one on the right is customized employment. For trial work experience, there's only 3 things written down. It's job evaluator. It's, well, this is based on my experiences, but well, there's well, something about my last trial work experience. It was but there is not really much accommodations, if at all, and there is no regular feedback. And that's all there is for trial work experience. Moving on to customized employment. Actually, it's not job evaluator, but job coach for customized employment.
Thank you.
For trial work experience, it was just usually that someone was watching you do your thing. But for customized employment, the job coach is actually called a job coach. and isn't secretly a job evaluator. Well, I felt more relaxed and understood with them, and also supported. Observed to watch what I could do and to get to know me better. Mapping with friends and family, career exploration, training at community center, arranged for videography internship. Currently still looking, big relief, could help others with challenges.
Thank
That's
you
all.
Thank you, Emma. I appreciate everything that you listed. And Emma also personalized her list in talking about a video internship that her job coach was able to identify as an interest of Emma's. So Emma, we're going to go on to the next question, okay?
Okay.
So Emma, you created a visual resume. You and your CE staff put together a great visual resume with activities that you like to do and you've done in the past and activities that you've been a part of. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, that visual resume does need to be updated, but it's a good start.
Okay, great. So I'm glad that we're able to identify that there's definitely still some work to be done and we can definitely improve, but I'm glad you agree that it's been a great start. You're
Yeah.
doing great.
Yeah, it's more like a work in progress kind of thing. And
I
it always
totally
might be.
agreed. I totally understand. So Emma, I have one last question for you. And I know you remember that I've asked you this question before, so I'd like you to share it with all of us. If you could find your dream job, if we could put together the perfect position for Emma, what would that look like?
Well, it might be hard, but it's kind of like a combination job, like you know, art, cartoony animation stuff, sorting, organizing, arranging things, like displays, and well, my likes and interests kind of change over time. Sometimes quickly, other times slowly, so it could change. But still, like, I think I might also like to add interior design or something like that.
Very, very nice, Emma. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. There are a lot of things that your job coach has helped you discover you are able to do and things that interest you and things that you like. And I know that there's plenty of more work to be done. So from the Employment Day Services Unit, DDS, and our partners over at ADS, I want to thank you very, very much for being here and sharing that with us. And we're wishing you the best of luck in your job search and journey, okay?
Okay.
All right, you can definitely mute now, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Emma. We wanted Emma's mom to say a few words about the parent-guardian experience, and Emma's mom was very clear about Emma having this opportunity to be independent and express her experience herself, which I think she did a phenomenal job with. But what we were able to do was to have the mom send us some notes that we can share with other parents and guardians and everyone on the call as to her CE experience thus far from the guardian and parent perspective. So at this moment, I'm going to share Emma's mom's comments, and they are specifically from her perspective. She shares, "My greatest hope for Emma is to live a happy, independent, and fulfilling life. When we heard that Emma was eligible for customized employment, there was a tremendous sense of relief. We celebrated the news. During her last trial work experience, it was clear that her strengths were not always highlighted. It was also clear that Emma struggled with social communication that leads to misunderstandings. Emma wanted to do well during her last trial work experience. She wanted so badly to please her employer. Unfortunately, she was not able to demonstrate mastery of the skills necessary to move forward with employment. Emma felt defeated, and as a mother, I felt heartbroken. It seemed that the need for a job coach was critical. Ideally, this person could focus on Emma's strengths, needs, and interests, and also meet the needs of the employer. The answer was customized employment. That is why we celebrated when we received the news that Emma was eligible for CE. Understanding strengths and contributions to potential employers, her needs, and in parentheses, all the strategies that need to be in place for success that were not available during a trial work experience, and her interests like the videography work, graphic design, and volunteering makes up the CE experience. I cannot thank BRS enough for providing the opportunity for my daughter to benefit from customized employment. A job that is well matched to her interests and abilities will be with reasonable accommodations could make a big difference in her ability to be included in the workforce. We want to thank Emma's mom so much for providing us with that personable testimony of her experience thus far. Now, with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Pam Don Aroma and Darlene Beret from Futures Inc. to discuss micro businesses. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Can you put it, so can we share our screen? Or
Yes,
share
you
my
can.
screen?
Pam, you're on mute. Talking away. I've been talking away being on mute. So I'm Pam Donaroma, and I'm the president and founder of Futures. So I've been fortunate enough to work closely with Darlene on our micro enterprise initiative. It started, Darlene, are you able to put up the slides?
I am, I just need to be able to share my screen and then I can do it. Can,
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just continue talking.
Can Joe do it as the originator?
Yeah, I think Elisa might be the meeting organizer, so that those meeting options might not be available to me. However, I will just double check right now.
In 2009, we've been involved in creating businesses as sort of part of our employment model. So in 2009, we created the first social enterprise in the state of Connecticut that was done by a nonprofit. And that was really parent driven. It was Good Cause Gifts located in Berlin. And that was our first business project. Good Cause Gifts has really expanded. We have partnered, we have our flagship store, which is in Berlin. And we have partnered with other organizations in order to create competitive employment for individuals that for a variety of reasons didn't have a lot of employment options. So we've partnered with the Hospital for Special Care, where we have a gift shop. We manage their gift shop, as well as in the last few years, we've added a culinary art program. So we've taken over their cafe. We've partnered with Nutmeg, which is a credit union in West Hartford, and we have Good Cause Gifts in the center of West Hartford. And most recently, we've partnered with the JCC in West Hartford to take over their restaurant, which is housed within their main building. How are we doing with those slides?
Let me just send them a copy.
Okay.
Oh, Darlene, I'm so sorry. I put it in the chat. You should be ready to share your screen.
Oh, great. Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt Pam.
So one of the things we did that I think has made the businesses successful is partnering with existing either institutions or, I'm sorry, let me shut my phone off here. I can't talk. I'm gonna. Okay, I lost. Did I lose the?
Nope, you're there.
I'm there, but I can't see you guys. I apologize here. Okay, there we go.
Darlene, please feel free to email me the presentation and I can share it on my screen if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay, so by partnering with existing businesses like the Hospital for Special Care, our goal was to make sure that we had competitive employment in an inclusive environment. So again, we're waiting for Darlene. So our businesses really created a lot of competitive employment for individuals that might not have a lot of employment options. Our newest initiative, which is running a series of restaurants, and we have 5 professionally trained chefs that we have been partnering with to support our individuals in being competitively employed. In the next evolution of that was we had started micro enterprises, but it's really sort of an intense project. And Darlene, we were fortunate enough to get a grant through the DD Council. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Darlene because I know she's going to get those slides up.
I guess it's a very large file, so I did try sending it. Did you receive it?
I have not. However, I did just save the meeting options to allow you to share your screen. I'm hoping in this last ditch effort that you are now able to share your screen. I'm crossing my fingers.
It looks like it. This is good. Hold on. Okay, can you see this?
We can.
Yay. Okay, thank you very much. Pam has gone through.
Yeah, so this is just this is where we started as a small little social enterprise to where we are today, which is our flagship store on the upper right, to our location at the Hospital for Special Care and our store in West Hartford. I will say one of the things that has helped made this successful, all of our businesses, is that the people that run them are have strong backgrounds in retail or are professionally trained chefs. So that has made a significant difference in the success of all these businesses. And the fact that, that we've been in business since 2009, I think actually speaks for itself. This is where we also have one of our first micro enterprises, which was the hot dog cart. And Darlene, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, great. So we have a new program where we're really highlighting our micro businesses. So what's a micro business? It's a small business that's based on an individual's passions and interests, and it's supported in their community.
I think we lost your slide in the bottom here.
Do you not see the slides?
I can see it.
I can see it as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There it is. Okay.
The micro enterprise program is appropriate for all levels of need, and I'll give you some examples of that. So just as an example of how it works, I was working with an individual named Toby, and when I asked him, okay, what's your passion? What's your interests? And not everybody's going to have a passion. And so, he did like fish, and he liked to listen to music. He really liked playing video games and really wanted to talk about that a lot. So then I started asking him, well, what else what'd you like to do when you were a kid? And so we started talking that way. And he remembers when he was a kid, he really liked to go with his family to the park and feed the birds. And so, of course, I thought with bread, no, he starts going on this diatribe of how, no, you don't feed bread to birds. He was very, very adamant about that. And he had done a lot of research. So we took his frustration and we turned that into his business. So now Toby is making a product called Goose Grub, where he packages seeds and grains and insects. And that is what you're supposed to give birds. And on the back of the packaging, He puts his research about how birds get dependent on bread, so they don't end up eating things that are good for them. Their wings don't form correctly. There's all sorts of things. So he was able to take his frustration and turn it into a business. We reached out to a local store in his community, and they're now selling it for him. We had a big ribbon cutting. And so we really also get the community to back up what we're doing and to really support, and they know who he is. He's the Goose Grub guy. And we make it official. We have the business cards also where he is the founder and president of Goose Grub. Different business is from Stephen. Stephen, many years lived, he's institutionalized. He had very little control over what he did all day. So when I talked to Stephen, he was working on the hot dog cart, and food was very important to Stephen. He never got to choose what he ate. It was really important to him to be involved in a business that had to do with food. And so we brainstormed, and he really loved to experiment with different sauces. So we sat down with a professional chef at the Kitchen at Futures, and she was able to explain to us, acidity of food and what flavors go together and don't go together. And he sampled so many ingredients, and we put more brown sugar, less paprika, more honey. It was a very long process to try to get the best sauce, and we hit on it. And that's what he sells. We bottled it, and Stephen is selling Middletown Secret Sauce. Just a little hint: when you're doing micro businesses, you really want to stay away from using a person's name. So you don't want to say Stephen's Sauce. You want to really make the whole community come behind what you're doing. And so Stephen really is passionate about Middletown, and so we call it Middletown Secret Sauce. The mayor came out. It was a really big event in getting his sauce sold, and it's being sold at farmers market and also at the hot dog cart. And he has said, I'm very proud of myself. I've wished for this day for a long time, and it actually came true. If it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be here today. I want everybody to know that, y'all family, that's it. One thing that came out from a lot of these businesses is when we did the ribbon cutting, it's very, very emotional. It's not just a business. They come in 9 to 5. A lot of people go to bed thinking of their ideas, thinking of what's next for them. And so it can be very emotional and exciting. This is just another example. Katie, her skills were, she loves art, and she was already very, very good at art. And so when I sat down with her, I assumed we'd go in the direction of doing something with her paintings, but she wanted to try something new. And so we decided to dive into the soap making business because it was just very relaxing to watch the videos on YouTube. And then we could also experiment with colors. One thing Katie is very, very good at is mixing colors and finding kind of a hue that doesn't exist that she creates herself. So it's a very unique thing. All of her soaps have a packaging that she has painted herself. And also her business card has her painting. So we really try to incorporate everything about the individual into her business. And she named it Soap is Dope. As part of her day program, we went to a soap making facility in Colchester, where we walked through the process. They told us about their packaging and how what scents are the biggest sellers. So it's not just about making the product, it's also kind of about learning from other people in your community and really, creating a new community. This is Marilyn. Marilyn also likes art, and that's on her business card, is part of her artwork that she has done. But she really had a recycling business going already that she really enjoyed doing. The only thing she wasn't thrilled about was she wasn't very comfortable doing her elevator pitch, which is something we kind of work on with the different business owners so they can pitch their products. And so because that was just too much for her and she wasn't comfortable with it, we made magnets and flyers. So now she had more of an option to advertise her business with the amount of interaction she's comfortable with. And we designed her T-shirt, and we have different multiple bins that are decorated with the name of her business. And we did that also. So when she goes into a business, she's not just someone off the street. This is her business. She recycles. Look at my T-shirt. and she named it Happy Botelos because it's a bottle and can collection, and she's happy that she has her own business, and Botelos means bottles in Spanish. And this was another emotional one. She started crying at this, and I thought, is this an overwhelming ribbon cutting? I just want to make sure she was okay. And she had said, I'm crying because I'm just so happy and proud. And it was very, very emotional. And this is another example of just, this can be a business that's appropriate for all levels. This is Chris, and he is challenged with, he is deaf, he has limited eyesight, he has autism and intellectual disability. So we really had to go slow with the process for his business. We didn't want to rush it. We wanted to do it on Chris's terms because we want to be sure that it's purposeful for him. We don't want to throw him into a business that we think would be right for him. We really want to explore what is working and not working for him. Chris does best when he has choices, when he has control in his life. And we want to help him to connect with the community. And so we created a hat. The two different colors are what he can see best, like contrasting colors. And we, instead of having a hat that's printed, and I should mention, you see the pictures. He loves hats. He probably has a collection of 200 or 300 hats. So hat is a big hit with Chris. But the hat that we created for him as a product is embroidered, so he can touch it and he can feel it. And that's important, that he can really explore the product himself. Love You Big is the name of his business because of he and his family have this wonderful relationship where they do this kind of a sign language for Love You Big, and it's really beautiful, and it just seemed like a great name for him. We also want to design a bag that you put the hat in, but right now the techniques that we've been using to have Chris paint on haven't been working for Chris. So we think of this more like our journey, our work in progress. And I think a lot of these businesses are. We're not going to have the same job forever and ever and ever. And we always like to keep in mind that we leave room to tweak. We want to be able to keep working on it, keep learning, and move forward. So this is a business that's always going to be reworked so that it works for Chris. This is Jill. Jill lived in a group home, and she had a lot of support. We had two staff working with her. She had a great laugh, and so we were trying to give her as much control and choice in her life as possible. And so when we did some research with her, we found that she really liked mac and cheese, and she really liked Diet Coke. And with a little research, we realized that there is a huge group of people that like Diet Coke instead of coffee for breakfast. It is like a thing. And it's funny what you find out when you start going into these businesses and trying to figure out what someone's passion is, because the whole point is to connect. And when you find a lot of people have the same interest, that makes it easy. So we did a line of coffee cups for her that said, "Good morning, Diet Coke." And also, as part of her day program, we brought her out into the community to do mac and cheese taste testing, because she was also selling mac and cheese buttons and cards, greeting cards, and stickers. And so she, as part of her business, she really needed to go out into the community and go to different establishments to taste their mac and cheese. And then we could make a pitch to those restaurants. Do you want to sell our stickers and buttons? But the idea is, through her business, we're able to come up with more day-to-day activities that make it a purposeful day for her. Community partnership is really important to the micro business program. So every time we have a ribbon cutting, we're reaching out to community leaders, we're reaching out to the press, we're making a big deal, we're having ribbon cuttings. The mayor comes, the state reps, local businesses, everybody really supporting one another. Could we sell it somewhere else? Maybe, but we really want to sell it in local stores, but we do get creative. So we are selling right now, we have an individual who's selling playing cards, like decks of cards, and she's selling it in a gardening store. And it just so happened there's a local connection there, and they were very happy to sell her product. So sometimes it comes from different sources that you might not think of at first, but definitely post it on social media, find your neighbor's page, get it out there, make people know what you're doing. You may have noticed for all these products, we've really elevated the packaging. We've really elevated the graphic design. It's not just thrown together. This does not look like summer camp work. It really looks professional. And just for like, here's an example of a social media.
Darlene, I think, am I on mute or no?
Oh, no, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think our biggest challenge right now is some of the businesses are too successful, and we're working with leadership to figure out what to do, because we don't want to compromise their social security. So that's something that Darlene is going to be working on, you know, with the DD Council as well as, you know, DDS.
Yeah, benefits are a big part of this program, right? Because we really don't want to just jump in and mess up somebody's benefits, SSI, SSDI, or Medicaid. And so, yeah, that's absolutely something we're not afraid of it. We're diving right in, and we're going to make sure that works for each individual. And that's part of the business plan, and part of it being self-sustaining, to make sure that works.
And we're also looking at, Darlene is looking at putting together a training program so that we could share what she's learned through this process, where you're going to be partnering. Our expectation is to be partnering with another ARC to help them in terms of individuals that need to transition out of more segregated employment, so that looking at how to support them in creating their own businesses. And then that organization will continue to provide the support once Darlene works with them in setting up the businesses.
That's right.
Thank you so much, and you couldn't have provided a better segue. So at this point, I want to thank Trevor, Daryl, Brian, Tori, Emma, Pam, and Darlene for your presentations. We couldn't have had a better array of examples of innovative employment options. And Darlene and Pam, you talked about the issue of benefits. And so we have with us Lisa and Nancy from Aging and Disability Services to talk a little bit about benefits, because that is a concern, and that comes up as we're talking about employment. So I will turn it over. To you. Thanks.
Yes, I thought the same thing. Such a perfect segue. So thank you for that. Thanks so much for having Nancy and I. My name is Lisa Farrell, and Nancy Dembeck is also with us. And we are benefit counselors, also known as CWICs. We talk about the work incentives, and that's what's really important for everyone to be educated about. The goal of benefits counseling is to help individuals who are on SSI or SSDI understand how work may allow them to become more financially secure and independent. What we do is we work with people who are employed, self-employed, as it sounds like you're doing with Futures, and or considering an offer, and we will provide accurate, individualized information either in person, by phone, or by mail. What community work incentive counselors or benefit counselors do is we help remove barriers to employment caused by concerns about what will happen to the Social Security cash benefits and medical coverage. It's a huge concern, obviously, and something that we have a lot of training in, and there's a lot of ins and outs. It's not an easy, which a lot of times people want to know that simple number, and it isn't an easy number. So we would provide that information for you. Benefits counseling ensures that accurate information, which is so important because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So it's so important that the individual is provided with the accurate information so informed decisions are made regarding the vocational goals. as far as who is eligible, anyone on Social Security disability benefits who is considering or already working is eligible for project services. There are no other eligibility requirements. They just need to presently be on SSI or SSDI. We do not help. That's something that's very important. We don't help with the application process, but once the individual does receive the benefit, we will help you. And Nancy, I just skipped right over you. I'm so sorry about that. So I also wanted to introduce Nancy, who will tell you about the kind of extensive training that we do take part in.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I'm Nancy Dembeck. I work alongside Lisa in the Windsor office. All of our benefits counselors are certified work incentive counselors, and that process begins with a week-long, very intensive training conducted by the Social Security Administration. We kind of think of it as a boot camp. I went to it thinking I knew a lot about the rules around Social Security and work, and I learned that there was so much more to it than I had thought. And then after that initial training, our counselors continue with online testing for several months and additional training for several months before we are able to actually work with clients. We have access at the national level to an expert in Social Security rules and work that we are able to consult when we have complicated cases. We also have a connection at the Social Security Administration that we can ask for clarification on particular cases. And as Lisa was saying, one of the benefits of referring to us with our training is that the rules around work are complicated, and sometimes people think that there's a simple answer. There's just a magic number that you can't make above, or they've heard of trial work period months, etc. But there really is a lot more to it. And when we have a new client, one of the first things we do is to verify what type of benefit that person has, SSI, SSDI, a childhood disability benefit based on a parent's record. And often the person doesn't know. They may think they just have SSI when they actually have a combination. We go through a very thorough process. Our meetings with the clients could be a phone call. It could be a video meeting. It could also be the benefits counselor going to the DDS office and sitting down with the client as well.
I think we froze there.
I wasn't sure if it was just me. Do you want to take over, Lisa?
Sure. Yep, so as Nancy was saying too, they can be working with a DDS worker, with someone who's getting services from BRS, AJC, anyone, we will take those referrals. We will accept from anywhere, as I was saying, including a self-referral. And then generally our process is we have forms and consents that have to be filled out and signed, and then we can get started, and we will then give a written report on our findings and review with the client, consumer, and whomever else they want involved. Oftentimes the person who's making the referral also would like to be involved as well. But yes, it could be family members, friends, or as I said, a self-referral. I have on the last page is how to contact us. So that would be very helpful. We have 6 different benefit counselors, or CWICs, as we're also called. So yes, feel free to reach out. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
this,
you.
The chat has been very active. And I appreciate
chat.
people noting their questions as the presentations have moved along. I just want to know so much information was shared, and it's really exciting to see all of these different options and opportunities available. I know that we have Teresa Porchetta, who is vocational support to Emma, that's on the call if people have questions for her. And at this point, Joe, do you want to start to review the questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually gone through the chat, and I've only found one question not related to requesting the PowerPoint presentations. It was right at the beginning. It was Nina who asked, what happens if one's child failed BRS competitive employment where the coaching is not there except to give directions only? Would he be eligible for customized employment? She added that he is capable but needs redirection.
So I'll take a stab at this. I didn't know I know Tori's on the call, so
Yeah, I
she
can
can
help
always.
too. I'm sorry.
Sure. No, go actually right ahead,
Mhm.
Teresa.
Yeah. So, basically, I would just say that, it's sometimes we need to take time to kind of think about exactly what happened in the situation, in terms of, why the job coaching wasn't effective. Was it the different types of strategies? So, but we do spend a lot of time kind of thinking about, whether customized employment is the right option for someone, have there been substantial barriers to competitive employment, and can we kind of do better if with the consumer having a lot more support and identifying their unique strengths and how that would benefit an employer? So it's really maybe not a quick answer, but it's certainly something that, if you're that can be considered for that person. I would just say, there's a lot of upfront planning and preparation when considering whether this is the best option.
Yeah, and
Thanks,
I
Teresa.
I would add to that to say that to Nina, if her son is interested in working again, and there is an interest in customized employment, to speak with whoever they're engaged with now. If they are engaged with DDS, they can certainly reach out to you, Trevor, and the team at DDS. If they're not engaged with DDS, then they can certainly return to BRS and inquire again about employment services, and customized employment is certainly an option that could be considered.
And
I was just going to say, I have one more question, if you'd like me to read that out. Okay. It was from Lynn Arazzini asking if customized employment can be used for volunteer experiences. My son loves working at a horse farm, but getting consistent and experienced staff has been challenging.
I guess I'll take a shot at that one. Customized employment is an employment service approach towards competitive integrated employment. So the question there, is there an interest in paid employment? Then the volunteering activity can be part of what is within the practice of customized employment and that process. But if the question is directed towards helping obtain a better volunteer experience, then that would be a no.
Thank you. And Lena has her hand up.
Yes, I have a question. Do you know if we have any kind of grants for people with disabilities to start a business right now in Connecticut? Thank you.
I think I could take the lead on that.
Sure.
We do, DDS, actually in 2019 had a pilot program where we offered grant monies for the startup for micro businesses for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We attempted to actually bring it on board as the innovative employment opportunity in 2020, and because of COVID, just like everything else, that got shelved. But the good news is that it's been revisited, and actually we just wrapped up the application process for the 2022 innovative employment opportunity. So we had actually a lot of interest. So we had a very a lot of people applied for the grant, and what it does is it breaks down into two different sections. The first one is an exploratory grant, which basically offers seed money to individuals who are interested in starting a micro business. Maybe they have an idea or a concept. They don't have a developed business plan, and they just need some seed money just to get things rolling. We do offer that as an option. Another option for the other part of the grant is an implementation, kind of like an expansion grant, which takes on much more substantial amounts of money. It can be offered in $10,000, $25,000, or $50,000, and those are for businesses that are like either on the cusp of becoming actualized, or already exist and have as a core part of their business the employment of our individuals, and they want to inject more in funds into that so that they could either expand and increase employment. And so those are the two different types of components of the grant that we offer. But like I said, the application process just closed. I'm very hopeful that it will be a continually rolling annual offering from DDS. Remains to be seen, but it's certainly something that DDS is very invested in doing. So I'm very happy to say that yes, we do we do offer that, and we're going through the process that I think within the very near future we'll have a number of, I think, very happy individuals who will have some funding to pursue their dreams.
So Lena, keep your eyes open for the next time that's offered, and maybe let your case manager know that you're interested, and that way if this opportunity is opened in the future, your case manager can also make you aware.
I've heard of Autism Speaks has grants that they offer for this, and some of the other organizations. So maybe do a Google search.
I know that there was some interest in customized employment. Somebody's sharing their screen. I know that there was some interest from providers. If providers are interested in sending a staff to be certified in customized employment, can the contact information be put in the chat or shared so that they know who to reach out to?
I can post in the chat where they can reach out to. I will also just quickly, I can put on the screen the document that we have, because I do know that there were a few questions about when the next iterations of our course were going to be offered. And so the application is open for the next two iterations, and they both start in February of 2023. So provider staff and provider organizations can still submit to have staff members attend the next two iterations of our training.
That's excellent. And Trevor, somebody asked if there's a link. How would they access those links to session C and session D?
So what I can do is I can paste in here the actual links if you'd like, in addition to the email. But we are also going to be sharing this PowerPoint afterwards. And what I can do is make sure that this information is also just attached at the end of the PowerPoint.
That's wonderful. And we will also, there were questions whether the PowerPoint can be shared, and we can attach it on our website with the recording. We can make sure that the PowerPoint is available as well. I will share my experience that each time, because these presentations were so comprehensive, each time I had a question, within the next minute or two, the question was answered. So that's why I think we may not have a lot of questions in the chat, because you did such a great job of anticipating what people might be interested in, and sharing that in advance. Are there any additional questions? So the purpose of these forums is to give an overview of the service, and then that firsthand account that Emma provided, the parents' perspective that her mom shared, those wonderful success stories that Darlene and Pam shared. There are so many examples today about different ways to achieve employment. And I really appreciate all of the presentations. I appreciate the time and the thought that went into sharing this information. And I see that Trevor has put the links in the chat. We'll give it one more minute to see if sometimes people are shy and it takes them a little while to think about what the question is. But in the meantime, I just want to express our appreciation. As we've had different forums around the state, employment comes up a lot. The fact that the issue of benefits was covered, and that you're available as a resource, I think is really important. Again, somebody is sharing their screen. And I appreciate having the opportunity to share that information, because that's always a consideration as people are pursuing employment. And Pam and Darlene, when you talked about the fact that one of the challenges you're experiencing is that people are so successful, what a wonderful challenge to be experiencing. I love the creativity that's gone into these micro enterprises. And so I just thank everyone. And I don't see additional questions at this time. But as I said, we're going to continue these forums into 2023. And I anticipate that we will have another forum in the near future to share more exciting experiences around employment. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Take care.
Thank you.